All right, guys, massive news today. For the first time in over 10 years, we finally have the spot Bitcoin ETF approval. Now, over the last couple of months, we've been waiting for this, or the last couple of years, really, but the last couple of months, we started to hear about the spot Bitcoin ETF being approved. And from that, we have obviously, there's been a majority of us that have entered some trades, and we've made a decent amount of percentage, close to about 100% gains on Bitcoin if you're holding spot, and more if you're on leverage. So great news, guys. But the thing is, what we need to now establish is what comes next from this approval. So what are the next steps? What are we going to expect? So first off, just looking at the Bitcoin chart, we noticed that last night on the approval, we didn't exactly get a huge pump, right? Let me just bring up TradingView in 2 seconds. Now, this is important to note, and this is very important to note because what this is somewhat telling us is that price has been factored in. Now, remember that when we're hearing about news in the crypto market, what you find is that people are buying the rumor and in some cases, or in most cases, selling the news. Now, when we spoke about the Bitcoin ETF on Monday on my live fundamentals call, if you guys were on it, you would have heard about my thoughts and everything. But we said that there was a couple of different scenarios that would potentially play out. One of the scenarios is it would get approved and the ETF wouldn't go live trading for the next couple of weeks, maybe even months, and that would then send the price down for a correction before we get our next leg up. What we found out today, though, is the news is actually quite different. So there are rumors going around, essentially saying that, I'm going to find the tab, 1 second. Well, basically the rumors are out there saying that the first day of trading could potentially be tomorrow. And there's been listings on the CBOE exchange, on the NASDAQ. So what we could actually see is the first day of trading taking place tomorrow. Now, this is really important because the actual announcement of the ETF has now been factored in. We've got the large run. But what's next to come is where we could see potentially one more leg up. Remember that nothing is guaranteed when we trade crypto, okay? This is not financial advice, and obviously don't enter based off what you just see here alone, make up your own decisions. But what we're seeing here is a post from Bloomberg, and it's saying that BlackRock may break the first day flow record with a possible $2 billion of asset injection on the first day of trading for its US spot Bitcoin ETF. It's also said here that seed funding could combine it with grassroots interest, giving it momentum in a race that could include up to 11 ETFs, what we think could gather $4 billion of potential buying pressure into the Bitcoin ETFs within the first day. So we haven't exactly got that massive leg up just yet. There's been a lot of talk about a potential God candle and all these things, but this is going to happen tonight. So within 16 hours, we could have, and this post is saying, 2 to 4 billion. You go back to the Watcher Guru thing here, and they're also saying, between $4 to $2 billion being injected in the market tonight. Now, this is exciting because as we haven't exactly got that huge leg up yet, what we could prepare ourselves for is that one more leg up before we could potentially see a flush out. Or I think we're a bit overdue for a pullback. We may not see a pullback. We may see a pullback. It's a bit hard to say at the moment, especially now that we're pretty much in uncharted territory. If we compare this to the gold ETF, which happened quite some time ago, we saw that it pumped, had a drop after the ETF was approved, and then when trading began, it started to pump again. But in this case, trading is going to potentially be beginning tomorrow or tonight, right? So we may not get that pullback just yet. We'll have to follow the story a little bit closer, follow the news as it comes out so we can kind of time our positions. But from what we're seeing, we could still get one more leg up tonight. We're going to have to reevaluate after that happens. Now, this is important because what is coming next? Okay. We could get that leg up to around the $50,000 mark. But you got to remember that while we're trading fundamental news, what I like to cover, you have to take each trade separately. Now, we've had this Bitcoin trade, and you can see that we've moved from 25,000 up to a top of close to $48,500. This Bitcoin trade is now, or could be now, starting to come to an end. Now, what's next to come is the ETH ETF. And what people are saying is that the ETH ETF could come as early as May. Okay. Now, think of it like this. The Bitcoin ETF took place. We got our run close to 100%, if not more. Now, the next trade that we're going to be looking at is ETH. And the ETH trade, ETH's kind of been dead, right? ETH has barely moved over the last couple of months, even throughout the whole crypto market going berserk. You know, so we had Solana do massive gains. We had a whole bunch of different tokens, AVAX, which ran a lot higher percentages to what Ethereum did. However, the ETF for Ethereum wouldn't be able to come through, or wouldn't be able to even get approved until the ETF for Bitcoin got approved. Now that we have confirmation that the Bitcoin ETF is approved, this is going to be the next one. Now, 2024, I believe, is going to be a game of the ETFs. Getting in on these coins before the ETF launches and then running them towards ETF day. If we look at the trade that I did with Bitcoin, you know, I'm up about close to half a Bitcoin in profit from the last one that we did. But what's next? Next is that Ethereum trade that we're looking at. So heading over to look at Ethereum. And the way I'm tackling this trade is I'm actually buying some spot Ethereum, and I am essentially putting a long position, but in Ethereum, so that I make more Ethereum in profit. Okay, and you can do that if you head over here on OKX. If you head over to markets and you type in ETH USD, you'll see here under futures is the perpetuals contract here for ETH USD. Not USDT, because that'll be in dollars. But if you do ETH USD, and for some reason it'll adjust to your local currency. Just bear with me here as my internet loads. But you can see here, I'm up 0.13 ETH since I entered last night. So I want to be accumulating more ETH as the dollar value also becomes worth more for that ETH that I'm also accumulating. So that's the trade that I've got on at the moment. Now, it's important to note that if we get another leg up tonight on Bitcoin, it can go one of two ways. Either ETH can follow with it, or ETH can have its pullback back down to this level of support to retest. What you're going to find is that if Bitcoin does run heavily, altcoins do usually bleed out. So the way I'm tackling this is I've only entered a very small position on ETH. I wanted to have a little bit of skin in the game. But what I've also done is I've allowed a lot more of my margin. So let's say I have an entire ETH worth of margin. I've only entered this position with 0.1 ETH. I've done it small because the rest of that funds, this is what I've done, telling you guys to do this. All right, just let me explain to you what I've done. But as price comes down, I want to be adding to, that's what I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be adding to my ETH long and basically dollar costing in all the way down to about 21.50. So I've made sure that I've got enough margin and low enough leverage to withstand that drop so that I can increase that ETH position, because after this Bitcoin run has taken place, if we get a pullback, the next trade I want to be taking is the ETH narrative, or the ETH spot ETF narrative, and taking that trade and potentially running this to what could be, you know, another 100% gain, what we saw on Bitcoin, what we could potentially see here. Of course, we don't know. Unfortunately, we're not clairvoyants, but you know, we could see up to $5,000 on the Ethereum price. Now, on top of this, that's just an estimate, okay, based on, you know, probability. We're looking at data, but of course, previous data can't, of course, guarantee what we're actually going to see. Now, is everyone following me so far? Let me see in the chat. This makes sense to everybody what I'm doing. We're going to open it up for questions shortly. Now, one thing to take notice of, and I've given you guys all my ETH tokens list, is that when Ethereum pumps, Ethereum might pump 2%. But from what we're seeing, as that pumps a couple of percent, the Ethereum-based tokens are pumping with it. Now, vice versa, when Ethereum dumps 2%, the Ethereum-based tokens are also taking quite a hit. Two of the ones that I'm really focusing on the moment is Arbitrum. You can see that that's just gone on a tear last night. I did enter a small position. We called this trade earlier at the inverse head and shoulders here. So whoever got into it, congratulations. I posted this in the Empire chat quite some time ago. And also this one here now, this is one that we need to start taking some notice of. And this is Lido. This is basically a staked version of Ethereum essentially, but we can also leverage trade this. Now, that's one to keep our eyes on. I will do more about this on, or speak more about this on my Monday fundamentals call. We'll look for some trading opportunities, but keeping your eyes on LDO and Arbitrum, and there's a high potential that if ETH runs, those coins will run with them. Now, just to sum it up, guys, for years, we have been trying to show everybody the potential of Bitcoin. We know that money only comes into the Bitcoin market if more people are buying and getting involved in it. The times have changed. We now have asset managers in the game that are worth a lot more money and are able to manipulate the price a lot more than any of us potentially have could. So when you're trading there, be very careful in altcoins, especially as we potentially get the leg up on Bitcoin. If we do, either way, if we get a leg up or if we dump, it could be pretty dangerous for altcoins. So limit your exposure if you need to. Be risk tolerant. Don't go too deep in things. But on top of that, right, before we're to convince people, now you have the world's biggest asset managers with trillions of dollars under management that are promoting Bitcoin to their customer base. They are now on our side and are selling Bitcoin for us. Like, what a time to be alive, right? It's going to potentially bring, I think Carl and having a laugh. It's true, bro. Like, it's crazy. At the start, we had to try and convince them, and now we've convinced them, and they release their fees. So they make a fee based on people holding a Bitcoin with them. So their objective is to sell as much as they can so that they can make money from it. So right now, what is going to come in 2024, I think is going to be huge. We could see some large cash injections overnight, but be prepared for what's coming, and just be careful with your altcoins. I think Ethereum-based ones, they're kind of the ones that are moving at the moment. Other altcoins, I'm personally staying out of, but get ready for what's coming, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this market update. Thanks for jumping on, and I'll see you on the next one.